when the Momtok drama was happening in real time, I was like, I kind of think I know what's happening. I don't care. Now that I've watched Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I care. I care too much. I have been scouring TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, the works. I've been watching the podcast they did. Taylor did a solo episode on Nick Viall's podcast, and then all the rest of the girls, minus Whitney, also did an episode. So there's a lot of information I'm going to throw out just because I needed a little bit more backstory, because what the show doesn't do is really explain how we even got to the place where Taylor was opening up about something on TikTok and causing drama. They just kind of wanted to pick it up from there. So I'm going to fill in the blanks that you may still have. I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. And then I will recap episodes 1 through 4, and I'll get to episodes 5 through 8 in a few days. So yeah, let's just do that now. There's a lot to go through. So what is Momtok? Because I was like, is it parenting advice? Is it? No, it's just these women getting together and doing the TikTok dances. Oh, okay. Okay. That's it. Kind of ridiculous. I'm not the demographic for the accounts that just do but TikTok dances. Even like the Love Island cast, they're all, young, and all they do are these TikTok dances. And to me, I don't know, they just seem like lazy to me. I'm like, you're not really dancing. You're not really, I don't know. I hate them, but they got popular. Everyone was obsessed. I mean, their view count, their follower count, it's crazy. So the 3 girls that started are Taylor, Camille, and Miranda. They're besties. Now, Taylor's the one we know. Forget Camille for now, because there's no need to talk about her. For the swinging aspect, we're only going to be talking about Taylor, Miranda, and their husbands. So, Taylor at the time was married to Tate. Miranda was married to Chase. All right, I'm going to refer to my notes heavily because it's a little complicated. So, Chase and Tate and Taylor and Miranda all hung out a lot. And one night when they were hanging out drinking, the guys were like, you girls should make out. And they said, okay, they were all drunk. And then this slowly starts snowballing into soft swinging. So no sex, just a lot of making out. And I mean, I'm imagining, sucking things, licking things. I don't know, just everything but the actual sexual act of intercourse. They would have these cabin parties where the husbands and the wives that were matched up would have sex next to the other couple, but they were never swapping. But it was like, kind of whatever. So at one point, a third couple, this is according to Taylor when she was on Nick's podcast, according to her, about a year into the soft swinging with just Miranda, Chase, Tate, Taylor, about a year in, a third couple joins, and they seem to be quite eager to do this. Like, what they would do is they would test out other couples, but this couple came in and they were both really down. She doesn't confirm it, but I believe this couple that she's referring to is Braden and McKenna. Braden and McKenna were both very into this whole swapping partners thing. And in one of these cabin parties, Braden was about to have sex with Taylor, and Tate was about to have sex with McKenna. And Tate, as drunk as he was, goes, wait a minute, what are we doing? What if one of you gets pregnant? We won't know who the dad is. Like, that's not a good thing. It's so messy. Also, I really want to know what happened right after that. So, like, they're all about to have sex, and then Tate's like, wait, guys, stop. And then they just, like, get dressed and go back and sit on the couch. And like, do you want to watch a movie? No? Okay. Just sit here. Like, I really want to know how the rest of that night went. But anyway, at this point, it seems like Tate is thinking maybe we should back up on this. But Taylor is like, no, I'm into it. but it's because she had caught feelings for Braden. Okay? So they keep having parties, whatever, and it would be all about the after hours parties. And she mentions that one of the husbands would often like stay the night at the parties, but not with his wife. I feel like this is maybe Braden. I feel like maybe Braden was the guy that was doing this. It was obviously getting quite weird. They were playing games like Love Island games where they'd blindfold each other and have to all kiss one of them and then guess who the person was. It was, it sounded kind of fun, honestly. Didn't sound terrible. But here's the problem the part that got a little gross was that when asked where Taylor's children were during all of this, she says that they were either her mom had them, fine, okay, or they were upstairs in bed with their white noise machine. Like, oh, what if these kids happen to come out and go check and get food or something? Like, oh my God. This is all taking place in the living room or like in one common area. So, okay, that's a little different. Okay, now, all this is going on. One day at the gym, Chase, who is Miranda's husband and also Tate's best friend, confesses to Taylor that he has feelings for her. Taylor comes home, she tells Tate, and he's like, look, I don't love that, but I mean, we opened ourselves up to this. Taylor doesn't want to tell Miranda because she knows that once she tells Miranda, it'll be the end of their friendship. But she confides in McKenna, who's married to Braden. McKenna then tells Miranda. And so then Miranda's like, I'm so sorry, what? And calls Taylor like, so wait, what happened with Chase? And Taylor denies it at first. She's like, nope, nothing happened, nothing at all. So there's obviously drama now among the group. There's probably like a group chat going on. And they decide to all get together at Miranda's house so that they can all talk and get on the same page. Well, Taylor's like, I got there and started doing shots and basically blacked out in the first 10 minutes. So she's over in a corner and Braden comes over to talk to her. Now remember, these are the ones who have the feelings. And because they're talking off to the side, Chase, who has just told her he has feelings for her, is like, what the fuck? Why are they all talking over there? What's going on? And then that makes Taylor's husband like, yeah, wait, what is going on? So Taylor is like getting asked by 3 people, like, what's happening? What's going on? She's so drunk. She calls a friend and she's like, I got to get out of here. Come get me. Her friend comes and gets her, or she goes to the friend's house. She Ubers there, however, but she gets to her friend's house. I do not know who the friend is. That is yet to be announced. It probably won't be announced. But so she's at this friend's house now, okay? Now it's chaos. She goes to this friend's house and the guys, all 3 of them, her husband, Chase, Braden, they're all calling her. She's not answering. Unbeknownst to Taylor, the wife of Braden, McKenna, is like, go get Taylor from the friend's house and bring her back to our house. What? So but Taylor was like not interested in doing that. So then when Braden goes over to that friend's house where Taylor is, they end up sleeping together. However, Taylor did not remember because she was blacked out. And so she makes sure to clarify on Nick's podcast, like, I've never said it was sexual assault. I'm sure I consented. So I'm assuming that because she must have said it online that she woke up, she did a lot of lives. She said she woke up, did not remember it. But as she says on Nick's podcast, I was, quote, really messed up down there. So I knew something happened. I'm like, messed up down there? What the fuck? So anywho, she doesn't say it was assault, but she's like, I don't remember it. I was blacked out. So, okay. The next morning, Tate comes and picks her up from the friend's house. She denies the whole thing at first, but eventually she comes clean. Now, Miranda didn't think the Chase thing was true at this point. So at first she's like, I got your back, Taylor. I'm on your side. Unfortunately, though, Tate, after he finds out that Taylor and Braden slept together, he's pissed. So he calls Miranda and goes, oh, you want to stay on Taylor's side? Guess what? Chase did in fact tell her he has feelings for her and she lied to you. And so then Miranda's like, you're dead to me. Now, Camille and Miranda were both asked to participate in the show but they said no, not if Taylor is involved. Camille is not a swinger. Camille, the three that started it, not a swinger. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, so during Taylor says she didn't have like actual proof of Chase saying he had feelings for her because he said it in person, but she did have texts. He had been texting her things like, I have something I have to tell you, but it's a secret. I can't tell you. And it was very obvious what he was hinting at. So I guess Miranda, this is according to Taylor, Miranda sees these text messages and she's pissed, even though it's not Taylor's fault. It's Chase's fault, whatever. But then they tell other people in the group of friends that Taylor had an affair. So someone then leaks that and the internet picks it up and it's that she's a cheater and she's a husband stealer. And the comments that said things like that were being liked by Miranda, by Chase, by Camille. So essentially confirming. So like, if you think about it, if you're friends with somebody and there's a whole rumor going on about them being a cheater and you're seeing these comments, cheater, 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 and you like those comments, yeah, you're basically saying, this is true. This is what happened. So Taylor then is like, oh, hell no. We're not just going to let me be hung out here to dry. So that's why she gets online and talks about the swinging. I will say Taylor is horrible at telling a story. Like, one of the worst people, very nonlinear, all over the place, stunted, just terrible storyteller. So when she told the story about the swinging, she did a bad job of telling the story. She left out details. She did make it seem like it was the other mom talkers when really it was just one of them. And so it was messy. And then it caused all the fallout drama. Okay, so there we get that. Another thing from Nick's podcast is the day of the arrest she gets into. So how we even get to that point is after, like 2 months after Taylor and Tate decide to get divorced, she meets Dakota. At that point, she had been speaking to Braden, the guy that she had been having the affair with. And she tells Braden, okay, done with you. I've met Dakota. I want that. But then there's all kinds of drama with Dakota where he like maybe slept with someone, maybe didn't sleep with someone in the beginning when they were still up in the air. I kind of don't give a shit about that part of it as more as I care about the way he speaks to her. You know, that's the part that concerns me. The cheating and it was like in the gray and we weren't really together, all that kind of whatever. But if you really are talking to her real nasty, that's what I'd like to discuss. And maybe that was a one-time thing. Maybe that stuff's over. I don't know. But I am following all of them now on the social medias. And Dakota actually seems like a really solid person online. Like he seems really together and kind and sweet, but he's also probably a really good charmer. That I can spot a mile away. Anywho, she'd only met Dakota 2 months after all of this happened. She hadn't really processed anything. And this is where we are picking up the show. The show, like the producer saw this playing out online and went, okay, we got to give these women a call to see if they'd maybe want to do a reality show. And that was genius of them. So they're now filming the pilot. Oh, Taylor and Dakota had only been together for a few months. They're filming this pilot though. So that's episode 1 is where they are there. So the arrest, which we see only in like the body cam footage, but at the end of that, they had already wrapped filming the first episode, the pilot. And then, I don't know when exactly in terms of when they wrapped this happening, she goes out. And at this point we see it on the show, she'd had an ectopic pregnancy and also a chemical pregnancy. So her hormones were all over the place. And she went out and got drunk with a friend or with friends. And she said, the way she describes it is she's like, this was like my first time releasing this stuff because she just says she's like, I could not control myself. Like the pain I was feeling inside, the anger I was feeling, and she was drunk. So she gets home. Dakota had picked her up. They get home. They were fighting in the car. She didn't even realize this, but her daughter was sitting on the couch and she's in the house yelling at Dakota and starts throwing the chairs. Her daughter had no injuries, but it sounded like one of the chairs might have hit her daughter. Taylor breaks down when she talks about the arrest. She really just breaks down. And so when she gets arrested and taken in, it was a big wake-up call for her. Then she goes into therapy. She's decided to stop drinking. She's been sober since this incident. And then we pick up like 8 months later, and that's where you see episode 2 start, where it's like we got 2 different shows. I thought I knew what the show was going to be, and I was like, okay, that's all right. But then the way it ends, and then they show the season 2 trailer, I'm like, what? Oh, this is a whole different show. So it was brilliant. Like they got lucky that the real lives playing out of these women ended up working out so well for TV, but it was such a jump. And I think I've seen a lot of people agree. Like I just was like, well, where the hell where'd that come from? Okay, so that's all the stuff that we needed to know before getting into the recap and whatever. Because I did feel like that stuff wasn't fully explained and got kind of confusing. The takeaway I have from the girls' interview, because the rest of the women went on Nick Viall's podcast minus Whitney. Whitney was invited, but she said she didn't want to do it. I have to say this interview was kind of boring. There was a lot of talk about like, Mormonism being very religious, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the parts about Whitney were interesting. There's a little bit of a discrepancy in the group. Some of them, like Demi, Layla, they think that Whitney intentionally became the villain for the show just to like ensure her spot. As where the other women and Nick don't agree. I'm in the I don't agree with that category. I'm in the Whitney actually invited Taylor on to be the villain and then ended up accidentally being the villain. Like she didn't even know she was the villain until they started doing press and the PR people, like the interviewers were like, so like, did you guys expect Taylor to be the villain of the show? And they're like, yeah. Whitney's like, who was? The interviewer's like, no one. You had no villain. You are, girl. You're the villain. I think she thought she would look angelic and like a victim. And then that flipped on her, interestingly. Macy is still friends with Whitney, but it's an odd friendship. And they all are just like, how are you friends with her? She's treated you like shit. What Macy does say in this interview is Whitney did not text or let me know she wasn't coming to my event. However, in response to that, Whitney then posted a TikTok or something where she posts a screenshot of what appears to be text messages to Macy before her event. That very clear, like a monologue about why she's not going and whatever, and then another follow-up and then another follow-up. So I don't know if maybe Macy had her blocked or something, but yeah, it shows that those texts were sent, I guess. It would be a lot of work to maybe like doctor that or maybe not. I don't know. So Whitney and Macy are still friends, but everyone else no. Michaela's like, I'm never going to be her friend again. And at one point when Macy tries to kind of defend Whitney, she sort of makes it seem like this behavior we're seeing that we don't like is just from filming stuff, like related to that. But Layla, who doesn't talk a lot, but when she does talk, it's good. She's like, no. This was happening long before. She's always done this. She'd be talking shit about me and then invite me to something. And then Michaela's like, that's right. She used to tell us we're not inviting Taylor. And then we'd go on a group trip and she would be the one to invited Taylor so that she could be the one who was like reaching out. It's like, I don't even think she realizes how manipulative she's being. But she's being real manipulative. And last little thing that I found interesting was the connection to Salt Lake City, the housewives. Jessie does some of their hair, and Layla is really good friends with Monica. She's like, I love her. So that's interesting, right? Okay. We just got through a wicked heat wave here in LA, and I had to have the window closed in the room that I keep my cat's litter box. And I was really worried it was going to start to smell disgusting, but it didn't because I use Pretty Litter. and those odor-absorbing crystals did their job. I don't know why it took me so long to get on the Pretty Litter bandwagon. I am never going back to my old litter. I used clumping litter that was so dusty and heavy. Pretty Litter, it's a lightweight 6-pound bag, and it's crystals. And the crystals absorb the liquid as well as the odor. But these crystals also change colors to indicate signs of potential illness in your cat, like a urinary tract infection, kidney issues. I have personally seen the litter change and called my vet and made an appointment for my girls. So thank you, Pretty Litter. And Pretty Litter just ships free right to my door, so I never run out. Pretty Litter is amazing. You have to try it. Go to prettylitter.com/she speaks to save 20% on your first order, and you get a free cat toy. That's prettylitter.com/she speaks to save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy. prettylitter.com/she speaks. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. All right, let's get into the actual show. So something that actually I've discovered when I was doing all the TikTok research is before this scandal even broke, producers were reaching out to Taylor, Miranda, and Camille. And I'm going to show, this is Chase. It's one of Chase's TikToks. Chase is Miranda's husband, the one who got feelings for Taylor. This is what he posted in regards to the show. And it's, for those who are just going to be listening, what the video shows is Taylor, Miranda, and Camille talking to someone on a Zoom that sounds to be a producer or someone like that. So I'm going to play it now.
And we're all fans over here, and we wanted to reach out just to see what you guys were up to and if it made sense to bring you guys to TV.
Look, I'll always defend Miranda, even though she's my ex now. She's a great mom and a great person. I don't really understand all the shade being thrown for her saying that she didn't think it was the best thing to go on the show. Obviously, her, Camille, and Taylor were the original three that got offered that. I think it's just a pretty obvious attempt at garnering some clicks and some views for the upcoming show, which is honestly smart. But yeah, I couldn't see Whit in that video. Didn't see any Macy in the background there, or the girl that got married at like 12. But it's all good. Glad they were later additions to fill out the cast. If I had to guess at the time, one of them was probably at a hospital filming some content with their newborn. But whatever, it's going to be great trash TV. Tune in to watch it. We'll give it a watch. I just learned today that I'm not invited to the premiere, which is a little disappointing. I heard a little bit. Invited? Also got to mention, we do have a podcast.
Okay, yeah, no, we don't need to talk about that. Okay, yeah. So he obviously has a lot of opinions, but what's weird is that he has not come out and owned up to his participation. He did post this really weird TikTok. I don't really get it. I'm going to play it for us too so we can all dissect it together because this is weird. All right, so what this video is Chase replying to actually a comment from Dakota. Dakota's comment, for those who are not going to be able to read what it says, Dakota's comment is, first order of business, it's been 3 years. Did you swing or not? Like, still confused if you admitted this or not. Like, let us know, dog. It's confusing. I mean, I know, but like, have you admitted it yet? That's the comment. So this is Chase's response to that.
All right, let's go ahead and let's get to the bottom of this, Dakota.
Parties you just met, obviously at this, right? Which I think people know at this point that you were involved in a party you just did Austin, which I've already confirmed online like twice now.
So you probably can't even hear this. What he's doing, I can't tell exactly what it is. It looks like this is a recorded, like someone's filming someone's conversation. I believe this is a conversation Miranda is having with Taylor, and Taylor is on speakerphone, and Miranda is recording this. Now, it appears that Taylor is saying, everyone knows you were involved, but you weren't into the soft swinging. But I'm going to keep playing it because it's kind of hard to hear.
Right. No, this was kind of sucks though. Wait, so you broke up for a second? Say that again. Oh, I just said like, I mean, everyone knows that like you were there. I was involved in the parties, yep. I just never like was a swinger or soft one. Yeah.
Okay. That's all he posted. That's all Chase posted was that was the clip that Taylor herself said you were not involved. This is a really elaborate lie if Taylor is telling it. Like, what an elaborate, weird lie for her to tell. How would that benefit her to say that you, Chase, told her you have feelings for her? Why would she want that? Sorry, I guess I wasn't done giving the preamble before getting into this recap. But yeah, so this show was going to happen regardless of the scandal. The scandal happened, and then Camille and Miranda said they didn't want to do the show if Taylor was involved. I wonder if they thought, Chase too, it seems maybe, I wonder if they thought that them saying we're not doing it if Taylor is going to be doing it, if they thought that they go, oh, okay, we'll drop Taylor and just do you guys. But instead they were like, Taylor is the main character. She has that main character energy. And there's like no denying that, really. Anyways, okay, all of that, I don't know why, all of that to say, now here we are. So that actually kind of makes more sense too. The ball was already in motion to get this show going. Then the scandal happens and they're like, we're getting cameras picked up. So the scene with Macy and Taylor getting together for the first time since the scandal broke, it really had been like a couple months at most, like 2 months at that point. So, or maybe not even. So anyway, so this pilot episode, this first episode, this is so fresh for them. And the weird thing too is that Taylor, her whole energy is really like, it's kind of tweaky. It's just so all over the place, very immature, very selfish. And then the Taylor we get the rest of the season, you can't buy that kind of growth from your lead. You really can't. It's hard. So she still has her fiery side and all that, but she's not like what she was in the first episode, which I did not necessarily love. I didn't love her energy in the first episode, but then I was just like, oh, never mind. I love her, the rest of it. She's so cute. Crazy, but like really meant for reality television. I hate saying that, but really, truly meant for reality television. All right, let's talk about Dakota and Taylor. Taylor's mom does not approve. Taylor's mom's an interesting one. Very anti-Taylor on camera. Definitely doesn't have her daughter's back. Very interesting choices. I wouldn't be surprised if she's hoping to be featured as often as possible on this show. That's the vibe. I see everybody saying that, so I'm not saying anything interesting by saying that. But anyway, her mom says in their scene, talking about Dakota, that she doesn't approve. He has an addiction. And I'm like, oh, well, now we've really added some flavor to this mix. Okay. And Taylor says, yes, she talks about it relatively openly, says he almost died from fentanyl. I'm like, who in the world? Okay. But Taylor, right there on camera, which is what makes the show so great, Taylor tells her mother, who just got done saying, I don't approve, I need to take a pregnancy test today. That's what I got to do. And her mom's like, are you kidding? I'm like, Taylor, you really didn't have to tell her, honestly. But unfortunately, it does come back that she is pregnant. But then whatever, we'll get into that in a second. The girls, fresh off this scandal, the girls all gather without Taylor and chatting about it. Demi, who I, by the way, very much enjoy. I think she can be a little maybe kind of shit talky or whatever, but once she gets called out, she owns up to it. And I thought she was a lot of fun. I enjoyed her. But Demi's like, I was at the parties and I didn't know. But then she goes, I guess Brett, her husband, who was with her, said that the guys were the ones asking questions. And I think it was Tate, Taylor's husband, who was like, are you the jealous type? And Brett very firmly said, I don't share. And they were like, okay, so we won't be asking them to stay for the after hours. But Demi's interesting because her husband, Brett, is 46. She is 29. They've been together for 3 years. And this Brett was also married to Angie Harrington from Salt Lake City. I believe there might have been a wife in between Demi, though. I can't quite tell if there's someone else in there. But Demi has not said one word about Angie Harrington. She's not said anything about that. So now we get to Whitney. Whitney is coming back from Hawaii, where she moved with her family. And we find out that there was some scandal with her husband. Her husband, Connor, was discovered to be on Tinder. And she denied it. She's continued to deny it up until we see her talk about it on camera. Now, I would like to address some things about this. Excuse me. If you look at the comment section, you will see a lot of people accusing Connor of being gay and saying that what he was really on was Grindr. Now, I was eating that up as fact. I'm like, oh my God, let's go. But I went looking for proof that it was in fact him being on Grindr, not Tinder. And all I can find are Reddit threads of people saying that. No, I have seen no screenshot of his Grindr profile. I don't know. Listen, I don't want to jump on this bandwagon. I'm just delivering what the people have been saying. If anyone has proof that they can show me, I'm so interested in that. But I don't, all I can see are Reddit threads about it. And that's it. So I don't know if that's real. But obviously it felt like there was more to the story, maybe? I don't know. But the fact that they just moved to Hawaii and they were moving back to a house that they bought sight unseen. That's insane. With a child, that's crazy to me. That is just absolutely nuts. But we're going to get into that some more. Michaela. Now, I'm so glad I didn't say anything before finding out that she has some skin condition, because in the scene where they were talking about the scandal or whatever, they go to the different women, like, okay, here's Demi, here's, I don't know, who's the other one, Jessie. But then when they go to Michaela, I'm like, oh my God, is she okay? She did not look well at all. Turns out Michaela was not well. She was apparently coming out of one of the worst health scares, because she has them all the time. It's this crazy skin condition that she cannot figure out to save her life. It's really sad. So she doesn't look her best, but she also doesn't feel her best. I feel really bad. You can tell she was struggling, because all the press she's doing, she's talking about just how not okay she was. And so she's looking forward to next season where she can be like not sick. So anywho, but Michaela and Whitney were very close at this time. And they decide to meet Taylor to get not coffee, because they don't drink coffee. Was it soda? I don't know. They're both kind of like judgy with Taylor. But Taylor is like, I don't care. Taylor is like, I do not regret posting what I posted. I created Momtok, so you're all fucking lucky, basically, that I created Momtok for you. Michaela takes that personal. She's like, I had a following going in. What I'm also gathering is that Momtok really became like just a business. It wasn't a group of friends. It was like people or moms in Utah that saw them making these videos being like, hey, can I be in Momtok? And they're like, okay. And it was just kind of business. Like these weren't necessarily all friends. It wasn't a group of 20 friends all together necessarily. Like some of it really was like Whitney, I believe, even Taylor says it might have just been like business when we were all getting together. So I don't know, which is also really crazy. This like content house where they go and film content, the dumb TikTok video. I can't. Okay, moving on. But Taylor in this scene is so different than who she becomes as the season goes on, because she's like, whatever, I got my boobs done. Sorry, not sorry, whatever. And Whitney's like, I don't trust you. I can't trust that you're not going to post about it online. I'm like, what? Okay, here's the weird part too. Taylor said that the person who reached out to her from the Mom Talkers was Whitney after she went online and said the swinging thing. And so it's interesting that Whitney's the one reaching out, getting her side of the story, but then also saying on camera, like, I don't trust you. Like, I don't, whatever. So, okay, that is a little calculated and interesting, because even when Taylor said, yeah, Whitney was the one who reached out, Nick was like, Whitney? So it's starting to feel like she really did calculate, like, we'll have her come on, she'll be the bad guy, and she'll be our villain or something. I don't know. Whitney and her husband, though, then they have a scene where this is the sit down on the couch, let's confess the mistakes according to how we want to present it for the cameras, because I can't go through this whole season, which I'm also realizing that now that I've talked through everything, I think Whitney was expecting this to be her storyline to clear her name, because she knew that this would, be a good storyline. Like, this is what's happened with my husband, but we're getting through it. But I feel like a lot of people felt like we were missing something from this. Like, it was a confession, but it not quite all the way realized one. And so her thing in this scene is, I'm done. I'm tired of lying. I just want to talk about it and be open. And her husband's like saying all the things that I know they must have rehearsed, because he's probably seen all the comments and things too. And so he's saying things like, I just don't want to feel like I'm like a victim in this. I'm not. It was my mistakes, all the stuff I did. Okay, got it. It was Tinder, though, according to them, Tinder. Whitney then calls all the girls together to have this big scene where she tells them that the reason I moved to Hawaii wasn't because the Momtok drama was too much. It was because I needed to get away from what was happening with Connor. And he had a porn addiction. And they're like, did he ever meet up with the women? She says no. They're like, how do you believe that? And she's like, I don't. I just have to go off of his word, which is that he didn't. They get through that. But then Taylor ends up talking about how she probably just had a miscarriage. And was pregnant and all this stuff. And then Whitney is mad because she's like, bitch, this was my storyline. I came in here saying my husband has a porn addiction, but it's honest. You could tell, like, a lot of them were also more weirded out. Like, you lied to all of us this whole time saying you went to Hawaii. Like, you fucking moved to Hawaii. And Taylor's like, you let me think it was because of me, basically. And then it actually was because you were just hiding your shit. So everybody was put in a position of being like, oh, that just kind of makes you a little. And again, it feels like she's leaving something out. It feels like, so Whitney apparently wanted some big moment here from them, like a whole scene of them talking her through it. I don't even know what she expected. But they didn't get that because Taylor came in and trumped it with the I had a miscarriage story. So that will come back. When we meet Dakota, this is the pilot, remember? They're going to dinner or something, and he just doesn't appear, not in just looks, but just doesn't appear sober to me. So I was like, oh, shit. Oh, like not, and he did some video where he addresses this, and he talks about how I guess his pupils, people were calling into question his pupils. I just got like, I don't know, but he has said he's not relapsed. He did not relapse while filming either. And I don't want to take that away from him because he seems much clearer now on his, like, I get a genuine vibe from his current social media presence and whatever. So that was my impression when I saw him. I was like, oh, are we sure he's still sober? Because I don't know. But then he was talking about it on his TikTok saying, I'm actually really sad that people accuse me of that, because that is a big thing. Like, when you are working on sobriety and you have been sober, for people to accuse you of not being sober. So I was going to be like, he did not look sober, but then I feel bad. So that, take with that what you will. But anyway, they get to this dinner thing. This is our first time meeting him. And they have a little scene, whatever, but then he tells her, with my history, with my past, being in recovery, I will not be okay if you keep going out and partying. And she's like in her, I still want to be a party girl era. So she's very defiant. And in her confessional, I don't know when they fucking filmed that confessional, because I'm dying to know when they filmed this confessional. She's like, I know that I'm going out tonight and I'm getting fucked up. Then the next thing you know, we're getting this 911 call and body cam footage of Taylor getting arrested. I don't know if that night that she was going out, that they show almost as if they made it seem like it was that night that she ends up getting arrested. I don't know if that's the case. It doesn't make sense to me that would be the case, because the reason why I'm so confused by that is, when Taylor does her interview about her like confessional about this very moment where she's like, yeah, Dakota doesn't like me drinking, but whatever, I'm going to go out and get fucked up tonight. I'm like, there's no way she was talking about the night she got arrested. There's just no way. So even though it looks like that's the same night, I don't think there's a possibility that it is, because cameras would have been up. I don't know. I just can't imagine them not just filming that right away. Like if that really happened. So I'm going to guess it was like a week later. But also, she was such an asshole. Like, if you are with someone who's sober and they're saying, I'm not going to be cool with it, when you go out and you party, they're going to get mad. And so then that's what happens. So the body cam footage happens. She's so wasted. She's claiming he was throwing stuff at her. All of this gets dropped, by the way. Like, at the end of the day, Taylor has said it was all me. Like, he was just defending himself, but wasn't aggressive at all. But I was like throwing chairs at him. So we get this crazy thing. Then we get the season trailer. And it's like a whole different cast of people with whole different energy. It was wild. And I was like, oh, never mind. She's pregnant again. And then it's all like Team Whitney or Team Taylor. And that was the vibe. And it was just so many storylines. And I was like, oh, yes. Oh, I love it. So I was in at that point. All you people who cook all your meals at home, how do you do it without HelloFresh? When I was in my era of going to the grocery store to get ingredients for a recipe I found online, I wasted so much food and money. With HelloFresh, you pick from the 50 recipes they've got, and you can pick from fit and wholesome, quick and easy, vegetarian, family-friendly. They send you just what you need with a lovely step-by-step recipe card that makes cooking doable even for idiots like me. And you can skip a week if you're not going to be around, you can't cook at home, skip it, don't worry about it. You can swap proteins and veggies. Like if you love everything about a meal but you don't like the protein, swap it out. Very customizable. Also, right now, they've got a breakfast special going. So for free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/freeshespeaks. One free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/freeshespeaks. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Okay, in the second episode, Taylor is full-blown pregnant. Episode 2, she's like, oh, hey, the difference between episode 1 Taylor and episode 2 Taylor is crazy. But she talks about how the arrest was the worst night of her life. All right, the rest of the girls, though, after the arrest, it's a whole different ballgame, clearly. It's like now she's been arrested. Like, it's not the same as a swinger scandal. It's like, bitch. The girls are just gathering, talking about that. But they're also talking about, like, brand deals and how brand deals have been down and all this kind of shit, which is fun because like my influencer friends always talk about this. And so it's like, yeah, it's real. Whitney's got a vibrator brand deal and it's very scandalous. She's like, I'm not sure if I should do $20,000. $20,000. Yeah, $20,000. Layla is 22. She got married at 19. I love her. She's so fab, such great energy, such a joy to see. She's never had an orgasm, and now I can't wait for her story of when she finally does. I'm excited for that because it's coming. We're gonna get that at some point. If they better pick it up for season 2. I swear to God. Jen Affleck is in this group. That's right. Her husband is cousins with Ben and Casey Affleck. So that's great. She's also the most devout. She's the one who wears garments. So, okay, continuing. Taylor talks to her parents and says, guys, I hate to break it to you, but Dakota, we're moving in. They're like, well, let's think about it. She's like, oh, no, he's literally like pulling up with his stuff. He's moving in right now. They don't. Like the parents obviously are not a big fan of Dakota, but when this guy comes in, man, he charms my pants right. Not my pants. That's not right. But he charmed me. And I was like, oh, he's good. Because they're like, oh, her dad goes, oh, so you come in and knock up my daughter and then you're going to move in, whatever. But the way Dakota just kind of, I don't know, he weathers it pretty well and it's charming. And I'm like, all right, I get it. I get it. He is funny. But the way he talks about her, he's like, I love your daughter. I don't know. There's a controlling element to him that I am still going to be concerned about. We need a season 2 so that we can continue to observe him. So the next scene with Macy and with Taylor is so good because Macy's just saying all this shit right there on camera. There's no coding to it. It's like, ooh, you haven't learned this lesson yet where you're going to be whatever. So they're talking about, here's Taylor pregnant post arrest. I guess Macy's the only one who's been reaching out to Taylor post arrest. And Macy is shameless. She's like, how is it going with Dakota? Is he treating you better? And I could tell Taylor's like, yeah, what are you about to say? So Macy was there at an event with Taylor and with Dakota. Taylor's ex-husband, Tate, came in. Taylor started freaking out. And then Dakota got mad because she wasn't like, I don't know. She was getting sad over her ex. And he was starting to call her like, you're a slut, fuck you, all these awful things, but right in front of Macy. So that's putting Macy in a really tricky spot. And she says it. She's like, I don't think he treats you right. And Taylor's giving no, we both treat each other bad, but now we're better. A lot of improvement. Everything's really improved. I'm like, has it? Macy also points out that 2 weeks before Taylor got pregnant, she was telling Macy that she needed help getting out of the relationship. So, and Taylor has said that she's been sober since her arrest. So it's not even like the fights that she was having since the arrest with Dakota were alcohol fueled because she's not been drinking. They just were toxic. Like, I'm having a really hard time not sticking to thinking Dakota is toxic, except I'm really confused because he's doing a good job changing my mind on his current social medias. So I don't know. Maybe he really was just getting better. I mean, he is in recovery, so maybe just as he's gotten further in recovery, he's better or something. Right? Am I being naive? Macy is shameless. She's like, I don't like him. I'm not backing down off that. What I also like about Taylor, though, is that she's like, that's what I like about Macy. She tells it like it is. She's like, maybe you didn't get one interview soundbite from Taylor where she was like, she doesn't know our relationship. She was like, look, she says it how she feels. She saw it on a rough night. Like, Taylor really has learned how to own up to some shit. I think that's what everyone's connecting to with her. It's like, damn, she really will take accountability and just kind of be crazy and own up to it. So that's a great reality star, right? The next time you see Taylor and Dakota, he's like, oh, was Macy talking shit? So clearly he knows that Macy has an opinion, and he probably knows exactly why. He probably knows she saw me be bad, and now Macy's going to be the enemy, because when someone else sees that mask drop, it's like, ooh, fuck them. So the next time they're getting together and talking, he's like, oh, you hung out with Macy? Whoa, what is she talking shit? I'm like, oh, not a good sign. Not a good sign, honestly. So regardless, they are still having a baby. So Taylor's throwing a baby shower, and Whitney decides this is where she is drawing the line. She's not going. I am not going to the baby shower. And all the women are like, I don't know if that's the move. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's giving what you think it's giving. And also, if everyone is going but Whitney, that's like, Whitney, why? Everyone is going. Maybe like realize like, oh, no one else wants to join me in standing against Taylor in this baby shower. Oh, should I not? And they could have been like, no, you should go. But instead, no, I think Whitney's convinced that the audience will be against Taylor. And so that's why she feels so confident in being against Taylor. So then at the baby shower itself, Layla's the only one who knew Whitney wasn't coming, which is gross that she couldn't text Taylor at least to tell her. But anyway, at the baby shower is when Layla's like, she's not coming. And then Taylor, who's sad about it, tells her mom. And then her mother, Taylor's mother, right there at the party, calls Whitney. What the fuck? Like, okay, so you definitely wanted camera time. Like, that's an insane thing to do. Whitney is like, I've never even talked to her mom. Like, that is wild to do that. Wild. It was crazy. Just an insane thing to do. So, okay, girl. Okay. But great TV, sort of. Okay, then in episode 3, we are fresh off Whitney not going to the shower, and Michaela, Macy, and Whitney all meet up. And Whitney you could tell she's shocked that they're like, you should have gone, or you should have told Taylor at least that you weren't going. Whitney's like, what are you guys talking about? Because we hate Taylor. That's what I've been making sure of. We hate her. Whitney's very confused by them being like, yeah, we might have been talking a little shit about Taylor because she's easy to talk shit about right now. But we went to her shower and you should have gone, or should have told her you weren't going. Okay. Then Jen Affleck throws her husband, Zach, a graduation party. We'll get to Zach. We get a lot more from Zach later. This is the first time Taylor has seen Whitney since the baby shower, and so it's a little uncomfortable. We also learn about how much Mormons love soda bars because they don't drink coffee, so they can drink soda. It can't be a caffeine thing because caffeine is in soda. So is it just a coffee-specific thing? Like, that's so weird. But we get to learn a little bit more about Jen. This is fascinating to me. Jen, she talks about how she feels judged by Zach's mom a lot. And we meet her mom, Jen's mom, and Jen kind of reluctantly says it like this, but when she says it, it's powerful. She goes, let me put it this way. My mom is a cleaning lady at the hospital that Zach's dad is a heart surgeon. Oh, that paints a picture. Got it. That really paints a picture. So, yeah. So Taylor tries to talk to Whitney, or at least tell her, like, I'd like to talk. So she's kind of walking out of the party. She's like, hey, Whit, I'd love to talk to you. And Whit's a total bitch. She's like, okay. And then she's talking to someone else. Like, I don't even want to talk to her. Like, I don't even know what I would say to her. Like, what the fuck are we even going to talk about? And just digging her villain hole even further, right? Jordan, though, now it's after hours. They're getting in hot tubs. That's why Taylor was leaving. And Jordan, who is Jesse's husband, busts out a flask of vodka right there in the hot tub with all these non-drinking Mormons who are so uncomfortable. And so, because Jen, Whitney, and I'm assuming Demi don't drink because they're the only other people there. And they're like, oh my God, what is this man doing? And Jesse's drinking it too. She's like, yeah, naughty. But they're like freaking out. So the next day or sometime after, they all like join each other at Botox appointments where they get laughing gas. I don't get laughing gas. I would be so fun. So they go and they get the laugh. They don't need the Botox yet, but I guess it is preventative. Whatever. But Miss Jen Affleck, coming off that graduation party with the flask incident, she has a baby blessing coming up and has decided not to invite Demi, Jesse, and Taylor. Well, I don't think Jen remembered that she straight up told them about this baby shower, baby blessing. So when Demi and Jesse find out about this, because someone's like, were you even invited? When they're like, oh yeah, we're going. They FaceTime Jen. Jen makes Zach get on the FaceTime to explain it, which really proves what Jen will later say in this Nick Viall interview that all the ladies did. She says that a lot of her fears with the flask incident were more about her husband and her husband's parents rather than her. What I bet a lot of Jen's life is like that. I bet a lot, now that I know she's got this super rich family that she's marrying into or married into, she probably feels a lot of the time very insecure and does a lot of things like projecting on projecting Zach and his parents' views onto something. Like, they won't like that, so I'm going to react. But Demi and Jesse are like, well, she invited us. Like, she told we have the date in our calendar, so we fucking knew about it. But then Zach, at one point, he goes, at the same time, it's not your guys' baby blessing. Oh, okay. Jesse's like, yeah, we were invited. And they literally, Jen goes, I never put a date in the group message, but then they flash back to Jen inviting them in the car, like in person. So they're like, great, cool, thanks. Anywho, Demi hosts a Galentine's at her house where we learn she has zero time management skills. She's forgetting that the two different people. First, her husband is like, all right, are we ready? And she goes, 7:30. And he's like, oh, I thought it was 7, but okay. And then Jessie shows up and she's like, could you said, or maybe Jen, someone shows up. They're like, you said 7, but okay, totally fine. And Demi is greeting everyone in her bra. She's coming out like waving at everyone. She's got her bra on, so whatever. While Demi is greeting people in her bra, Whitney, Macy, and I believe Michaela are all getting ready to go over there. And Whitney's putting together a gift for Demi. Now, Demi should be the only person telling this story. But it turns out Demi told Whitney and Macy one time, like off camera, I think it sounded like it was before filming was even a thing, and told a personal private story about her sex life with her husband that involved Fruity Pebbles. I still don't know I don't know the story because Whitney proceeds to whisper the entire thing in Michaela's ear. And then Macy, I believe it was Macy and Whitney are like reenacting it or something. And it's like, you could just tell it's such a violation for Demi. Like she did not deserve that. Not at all. And Whitney is essentially telling everybody without actually saying it. And it's bad. So then at the party, when she fucking presents the gift to Demi, she's got this evil grin on her face. And obviously Demi is pissed and she walks away. But then Whitney is like, that was fucking weird. I mean, it's a Galentine's. What the fuck? Oh, bitch, really? Oh. Then Whitney proceeds to be mad at Demi. Because Demi was like, you fucking, like, she didn't know at that point, I'm sure what was happening in Demi's head when she opens up that gift and sees the Fruity Pebbles. She's like, fuck, did you tell like the cameras? Like, did you talk about this on the show? Because a lot of that fear must come out. Like, what have you said already? Because this, like, yeah, it's bad. Very bad of Whitney to have done that. But what does Whitney say to Demi? I just feel ambushed. Why are you ambushed, Whitney? We're watching as Macy looks like, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea. Okay. It's funny. It's funny. Oh, Whitney's like, what do you mean it's funny? It's like, is it? I don't know if it is, girl. And then you're ambushed when you brought the gift. You brought the gift. So that's not the word. I cannot. Whitney, I cannot with you. And she, to this day, is not taking accountability. To this fucking day. She's posting TikToks where the audio is like, arrest me, lock me up, guilty, 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 whatever that audio is. And she's like, all I was doing was setting boundaries and something else. But she's like, yeah, arrest me. I'm just so bad. I'm like, oh, girl, no. You crossed this boundary by even bringing up this incident and thinking you could turn this into a moment for yourself at Demi's expense and her husband's expense, you know? We are coming into fall. We're getting our sweater weather. And there's never been a better time to have Jenny Kane sponsor this podcast because nobody does sweaters like Jenny Kane. I'm wearing the cropped cashmere cocoon cardigan. I love this thing so much. I'll blast the air conditioning and sit in front of it just so I can wear this sweater. Everything Jenny Kane does, it's like elevated basics, elevated essentials. And if you need something that pairs well with literally anything in your closet, look to the Flynn cashmere sweater. It has a perfect V-neck and it's easy to layer and style. They also have an amazing collection of home essentials. They got timeless furniture pieces, cozy pillows and throws. They got incredible scented candles, like to die for. And they have a really good rewards program where you can earn up to 10% back with every purchase, and joining is completely free. Find your new uniform at jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code SheSpeaks at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com, promo code SheSpeaks. Let getting dressed be one less thing you got to worry about. Embrace your fall aesthetic with Jenny Kane. Okay, episode 4. Okay, the girls are doing a girls' trip for Macy's birthday. On the ride up, Whitney, when they're like, how's it going to be with Taylor? She's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe we're going to be, it's like a boxing match, like all cracking up at her stupid joke. And they're like, well, she's pregnant, so maybe that's not. And then Whitney goes into a deranged mode and she's like, oh, she's pregnant. Silly me. I forgot. Oh my God. What? And all of them are like, oh, this is going to be bad. They could just like, oh, she's not in a good place. All right, the house that they get is fabulous. Like, I want to hang out there. Demi and Brett are in a fight right now. They ask how it's going with Brett. She's like, we're in a fight, the Fruity Pebbles thing. Yeah. He's like, I'm not mad, but it's uncomfortable. Like, now it's going to be talked about on the show. Jen freaks out because she forgot her garments, which I don't know why I found that so funny. She's like, what's going to happen to you? Oh, no. Demi decides that it would be a good idea to bust out something she calls the truth box. And you know, all us reality TV veterans are like, big mistake, but great TV. It's only going to go bad. And so that's great for us, but very bad. And I love that Demi's the one who ends up getting it the worst. She's like, I should not have brought this game out. What the fuck was I thinking? Okay, so one of the questions is, Whitney, why don't you like Taylor? Are you just jealous of her clout? Who wrote that? I would love to know. But Whitney goes, no, I'm not jealous of her. I'm jealous of maybe the forgiveness that she got when I didn't get the same for the RSV video. And then we find out about this video. This video that she did, I think, before Momtok. She wasn't even a part of the group at that point. She says, everyone was so quick to forgive Taylor online for the swinging, and I feel like I still get shredded on every single video. But no, I'm not jealous of Taylor's clout. But I mean, if I don't like her, that's a different conversation for another time. What the fuck, bitch? You're such a cunt. Sorry. I know that's so mean. I've kind of started saying cunt a lot though. Like I like it. Like it's serving cunt. Anywho, but no, she's not serving cunt. She's being whatever. But the video is so grotesque. How did you think that was good to post? It was confusing. She's dancing next to this baby who's in an incubator. It's weird. So she got this flack for it. And the reason Taylor's like, what are you talking about? I've been getting attacked online all the time. It's the way you handle it. She's like, I just haven't been a victim of it. But like, yeah, I still get attacked all the time. Husband stealer, cheater, whatever. Like, yeah, what are you even saying? But also, what a bitchy way to end that little monologue. I mean, if I just don't like her, that's a different conversation. Okay. The next question, Taylor, would you leave Dakota if you found out he slept with Jenna? This is the big thing in question. She claims that she would. We will be circling back to this one quite a bit. Next question, Demi, did you ever call Jen to Mormon? And then this turns into a whole thing. Demi figures out, oh, Whitney went and blabbed. Whitney went over to Jen and told her that. And she calls out Whitney right away, like, okay, and it's cute that you're laughing, but like you're the one who told her. And she's like, yeah, I did. I told her. Demi goes, you guys agreed with me. And they're like, no, we didn't. Because it was Macy and Whitney. They're like, no, we did not. We did not. Okay. But Demi then tells Jen to her fucking face. She's like, look, I feel like, you're the only one who freaks out. Like you forgot your garments. And so it's just, I am Mormon, don't do that. It's kind of gaggy, she says. It's kind of gaggy. I died. But then Jen is like, oh, okay, well, you've never said any of this to my face before, and you're notorious now for doing that. Like when you called Taylor white trash. So then Demi has to come clean about calling her trash. And this is what she said. She goes, it was after, you had been like, I was talking about when you were like hitting on my husband right in front of me. And at first Taylor's like, no, I never did that. I never did that. But then she goes, well, I was a swinger. So so you might have done it. Maybe, Taylor. But then because Jen's like, I don't like where this is going. She goes, Demi, it's still not okay to call someone that. And Demi goes, shush, I don't want to hear your judgment, and puts her finger up. And I was like, oh, now we've got to fight. Now we've got a scene here, people. Yes. Then Demi sticks her foot in her mouth, though. And she goes, okay, I mean, like a lot of the stuff that you were doing was trashy. And so Taylor's like, oh, okay, like what? And then Demi's like, well, the swinging thing, that was trashy. And Taylor goes, okay, yeah, we already established that. What else? And Demi's like, but then Taylor hits her with do you think it's trashy to take your dress off in front of my boyfriend? You made him extremely uncomfortable because you ripped your dress off to get mic'd right in front of him. And Demi was in her bra the whole time. So I am going to say that like Demi absolutely was showing everybody the bra situation. And it was crazy for Taylor to accuse her of like seeing Dakota and being like, uh-oh, took my top off. My dress is gone. I'm just in a bra. It's like, no, she was doing that with everybody. And so when Demi's like, I was in my bra for everybody. Like I was in my bra the whole time. Taylor goes, no, you did it just for Dakota. And Demi goes, I'm not the swinger here. I loved that line. Okay, then they move on. They're like, okay, let's move on. Demi's like, kill me. The next question is for Whitney. Who is your least favorite in this group and why? And Whitney is like, fuck yeah, I'm throwing Demi right under the bus. But this is the reason why. She goes, Demi, because I feel like any truth I say, you tell me that like I agreed with you and I didn't say that. Like, I don't know. It's Demi. She's my least favorite. It's like, oh, because whatever. All right. Because she said that you did. I can't with you, Whitney. I cannot with you. Okay. So the game is finally done. And now Whitney is mad at Macy for not standing up for her during that. I can't believe you didn't have my back. You were the only one who could have said like, I didn't agree. It's like, but Jen also, I'm not Jen. Demi also said that Macy agreed. So Macy was having to defend herself too. So what would it have, she did say that what are you talking about? But anywho, the next day, Taylor pulls Whitney to talk. Whitney has the nerve. She's like, I'm scared. And Taylor's like, why? She's like, Whitney goes, just don't punch me. Oh, okay. What the fuck? So Taylor's like, you have an issue with me, but you've never told me what it's about. So I don't even know. And Whitney goes, I mean, honestly, I didn't tell you because I didn't feel I needed to. I mean, I don't feel like we're friends. And you can tell this is clearly news to Taylor. So Whitney says that she hasn't felt like this friendship is reciprocated and brings up Taylor announcing her miscarriage right after she had opened up about her husband's porn addiction. And Taylor, it's not the same Taylor from the first episode. Taylor is like the therapy, recovery, trying to work on herself Taylor. So this didn't turn into a fight at all because Taylor is so evolved. But anyway, while they're talking, the rest of the women are downstairs and Demi is done with Whitney. So she's telling all the secrets, okay? She's like, oh, this is not we're not cool. She goes, after our ketamine therapy, which talking about something someone said after therapy is wild on camera. But she's like, after ketamine therapy, she admitted that she posted that video with her baby for clout. So, okay. Fucking hell. Taylor, meanwhile, upstairs, is telling Whitney that, I'm really actually happy that you told me about my selfishness because I'm working on myself, trying to be less selfish. And, I could be better. And Demi hears this and is like, why is she being so nice to her? Let me go fuck this up, and walks upstairs and just sits right there in the conversation as Messy Demi joins the Taylor Whitney convo. Whitney is saying like, oh, I didn't get support during the Connor stuff and something like that. And Demi doesn't even waste any time. She just interrupts and she goes, that's not true. I was there for you. I text you. I reached out. And Whitney goes, I feel like Taylor doesn't care about me and I don't want to be around somebody like that. But Taylor's like, okay, why didn't you ever tell me? Like, I really wish, like, how do you expect me to work on this if you're not going to tell me? And Whitney's like, but because I don't expect you to work on this. That's what I'm saying. Like, just leave it. And Taylor goes, okay, but I could have been working on it the entire time. And Whitney says, and I didn't care enough to say anything. I didn't want to say anything. It's so bitchy. And Demi has found her moment to step in here. She's like, oh, but you cared to everyone else and talked shit about her to everyone else. And this is what you do. Just like how you went to Jen and told her what I said. And Whitney's like, you're the one who brought the truth box. I told Jen and she could do with it what she wants. I never brought it up. What the fuck does that mean? So Demi's like, why even go to Jen with it? I didn't go to Taylor and tell Taylor how you felt about her. When Whitney goes, you could have, because I wouldn't care. Ew. Actually, Whitney probably wants them to be like, Taylor, she doesn't like you. That's what I think they want everyone to do to Taylor. Or that's what Whitney wants them to do to Taylor. And Demi goes, okay, but you're sitting here saying you don't care to have the conversation, but then you're going to shit on Taylor behind her back. And Whitney goes, how am I shitting on her? Everything I've said about her, I just said to her face. And Demi's like, now, after like she says 2 years, after the last 2 years, and we were the only ones hearing how you felt. That's a long time to be talking shit. Whitney goes to Taylor then, does that bother you that I didn't tell you? And she's like, yeah. Like when you didn't come to my shower because you said we're not friends, I thought we were friends. So when you didn't show up, yeah, it was a big deal. And Whitney goes, well, I don't regret anything. I'm glad I told Jen. I don't think that was wrong. I'd still do it. Oh, Whitney. Oh, you bitch. You bitch. Demi goes, okay, well, then you're a shitty friend. And Whitney goes, well, then I guess don't be my friend. Okay, we won't. All right. They go back and forth. Eventually, what does Whitney have to do? She has to walk away and cry in a closet. And then Macy and Jen go running in there. And it looks, and I couldn't tell, but it's Taylor. Taylor also is in there, which is crazy that Taylor is in there comforting this bitch, this Whitney bitch. Okay. And so then Demi's like, I'm not done here. So Demi and Jesse, because Demi's telling them like, this is what she's up there saying. And they're like, oh, hell no. So then they go in to the closet area where Whitney's trying to stay secluded because she just can't handle anything. And she's like, I think Jesse goes, let's make this a group affair. They walk into the closet and Demi starts going, she goes, continue telling people everything about everyone else. And then Whitney interrupts her and in the most dramatic fashion goes, Demi, can you leave the room, please? Just leave the room. Oh, God. Demi said, no, you're talking about me, so I'm here. Macy goes, Demi, you're being a bitch right now. Demi goes, because I have two people right here sitting beside Whitney when last night was the most heightened experience we've experienced in this whole journey. And no one said shit. I don't know why that line is so funny to me. Like she's, this whole experience we've ever experienced in this whole journey. Now we have a whole minion fest here, a chihuahua fest of two little puppies sitting next to Whitney saying, back off, she's unstable. God, it's so good. Jen is speaking in a very passive aggressively low tone. She's like, don't yell. Don't yell to me. You're yelling. Shut up. But Jessie, she's a real bitch. I love Jessie. She chimes in and she's like, okay, no. Basically, Whitney's like a rotating door of people. She picks her people to get closer and then she just drops them. When she says stuff about Taylor, it's really mean. And then to Taylor's face, it's all good. And I don't think it's fair. Taylor chimes in and says the nicest thing she could possibly fucking say. She goes, Whitney, I just think you're acting out of hurt. I know you're acting like you don't care, but it's because you're hurt. I hurt you really bad, but I could still be a friend to you. Taylor, you won us all over. And Whitney stays crying like the victim, like, okay. Whitney won't even look at her. Whitney won't even look at Taylor. Girl, you are losing. Then they go to dinner because they're trying to like salvage the trip for Macy, by the way. They go to dinner and Whitney, in her clown outfit, by the way, what the hell was that outfit, is crying at the table. Now, look, if everyone else can suck it up, then you need to. Do not do this, okay? If you are going to be in a group of people and you are going to have this strong stance that you just don't like her or Taylor, and I don't care, I don't want to talk to her. When they have opinions and feelings, you should be thick-skinned enough then to go to a party and still have fun. But she's making the whole thing about herself and she's crying and she's like, and Demi's over there acting like nothing happened. Yeah, because Demi knows she's not wrong. You are, yeah, in her clown outfit crying there at the end of the table. Get out of here. Oh, the show's so good. Okay. I will get to notes and recapping the rest of this amazing show whenever I'm hoping the next few days. No, I had forgot to say this. No Vanderpump Rules episode this week. I just don't have time with trying to cover Mormon Wives, and that is taking priority over Vanderpump season 6. But I'll make up for it. All right, guys, love ya, mean it. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to She's Speaking with Emily Hanks. This show is produced, posted, and edited by me, Emily, and brought to you in partnership with Cloud 10 Media. If you are looking for bonus content, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. To show some support, you can hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Another free way to support the pod, please rate and/or review on whatever platform you listen. It's free, and it helps the algorithm or something. You can also head to buymeacoffee.com/shespeaks and buy me a coffee or two. Make sure you're following me on all social medias. I am She's Speaking with Emily Hanks across all platforms: Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. Thank you guys. See you soon.